and welcome to the Glacially Musical Podcast. It is beer, metal, swearing with a side of vinyl, and YouTube review. I, of course, am Nick Cameron, the mastermind of the brainless Glacially Musical, and I am joined by my good friend, a man who's always ready to change it up and metamorphosize, Kafka Chakas. How are we doing today, buddy?
I am a huge fan of Kafka, so that's very funny.
Oh, that is so Kafka-esque. So real quick before we get going, if you are new to the channel, thank you very much for joining us. You have made probably a good decision. Let me tell you how we do this in case you don't want to get bogged down in the minutiae of the things we do and just want to get to the meat of the order, which is a chaser on live records. Of course, we are the podcast that does a series on a band, then we chase it down with something else, then we get back to a new band. So we go in depth into the careers of many metal bands, and sometimes not quite so metal. But normally we do greeting, beer check, vinyl check, news of the day, which I believe we are eschewing for the most part, because we have a guest today, and we will get to that. I'll let him introduce himself in a way that I never could. And if you don't want to hear all that little business, skip ahead about 20 to 25 minutes, and you'll be hearing us talk about some of our absolute favorite live records. Now, myself, got a beer check. I am drinking a Green Dragon Double IPA from Springfield Brewing Company in Southern Missouri, home of Brad Pitt, who is on my no list. I will see none of his movies. And I'm gonna pour into the Duvel glass because
I saw Bullet Train and it ruled. So for those who Brad Pitt is a major yes for, like me, everybody.
You know, I'll be honest. I like trains. I like Japan, and I especially like bullet trains. So there's that pour. Check that out.
That is a perfect pour. My pours are always very pour. P-O-O-R.
Oh, this is another double IPA. It has got a strong malt back. It has all kinds of hops. It's about 7.5%, so it's not crazy high, but it's good and high. And I don't know if you know this, but hops are a cousin of the marijuanas, so it gets you high.
Is that a fact? I mean, like not the related plant.
The related part is, yes, they are. They are related.
Very well. Once again,
biology time
here on the Glacial Musical Podcast. I didn't know it was going to be all smarts and stuff.
I only bring the smarts or the stupids, one of the two.
I once again am drinking one of my favorites, a Dale's Pale Ale. Oscar Blues is the brand, so nothing new ground broken here on this beer. But like, I love the beer, so let's pop it up.
Ooh,
right in there. And
wait, was there a pop?
Yes.
I did not hear a pop.
You're funning me.
No, actually, legitimately, I'm not.
Nope. Probably another mediocre pour.
You got to tilt the glass.
Yeah, I had it tilted, but anyway, yeah, bad.
No, it's not a terrible pour.
It's not terrible, but I do love this beer.
We have talked about Oscar Blues so many times. I am going to tell you, unless you hate me and yourself, and you hate me more than you or something, try their Old Chub Scotch Ale.
I have the Old Chub on occasion. The blue is more available to me.
Oh, fair enough.
I've had the green can. So I don't know if there's another variety.
The green can is the old. Oh wait,
the yellow can. The yellow can is the Chub.
No, the green can is the Chub. The yellow can is the yellow Pilsner.
I'm not sure, but okay, you might be right.
I know I'm right. I'm talking.
I'm that.
I'm not allowed to say that around my wife anymore.
Oh, I could tell why. But that's something I also would say. So, hey, now let's. I'm gonna just self-analyze for a second and say that I think my inability on the pours. I'm that person that will eat the first pizza roll out of the microwave, even though I know it's going to burn the mouth very badly.
Did you say microwave?
Pizza rolls, sir. Pizza rolls. I live in
Did you say
tiny
microwave?
apartment that I don't have an oven. Like, I don't know if you know that.
You don't have an oven?
I have a convection oven. I don't have a real oven. I live in a tiny apartment. Tiny.
I'm sorry. I didn't know you lived in the third world.
Hey, that's not nice. America is the third world, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
I know it's been that way we have the income inequality of basically of a banana republic. So yay!
Is that allowed anymore to say Banana Republic? I think that's very not
Is that
good.
offensive now?
It might be.
If that's offensive, I apologize. We have okay, let me rephrase. We have the income inequality of a dictatorship that was set up by the Americans in the 80s in order to fight communism.
There it is. Thank you. Anyway, I'm that person that eats the hot wing right out the pan. I have no chill. I cannot wait. I'm impatient, and that is why the pores are mediocre.
You know, it's important to self-analyze. But while you're taking a sip, I'm going to vinyl check.
You go right
now.
ahead.
This one actually is a bit of a it's an apology from me to Deep Purple, featuring Glenn Hughes, David Coverdale, and not Richie Blackmore. Deep Purple, Come Taste the Band. It's a gatefold version. Not all of them are gatefolds. It was on sale, 20% off, so I got this for the princely sum of $16. The reason why I say it's a bit of an apology is because Duncan and I did this one on the Department of Metal Antiquities, and I said, bin it. If you listen to it strongly and closely, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but for something to have on the turntable while you're playing a video game or cards with your kid, it's not bad. So that's my vinyl check this week.
Just the one?
Just the one this week.
Okay. Oftentimes I'll have 2 or 3 and you'll be like, let me get another one.
No, I'm only doing one this week. I got more, but I'll wait. I'm holding them.
Imagine how good a band Deep Purple is that Glenn Hughes is the backup guy.
Yeah, not even the singer.
Not even the. I mean, Coverdale's incredible. I know people give him a hard time. He's still incredible.
I don't know if I would say still incredible. I would say still getting it done.
I saw him just a few years ago, and he was incredible.
I saw him.
I understand his health is weak now, so it's not great.
5 years ago, opening up for Foreigner, and he was smart enough to have 6 dudes singing behind him.
They're all singing, yeah.
So he is the kind of aging rock star who understands that he's lost a little speed off his fastball. So he brings in the relievers. Yeah, and you know what? He's not out of key. He's not out of time. He just doesn't have that top speed. He just doesn't have that. He lost some of the upper end range. Nothing wrong with that. We all get older. I know I get older and I can crack my fingers just by doing that now. So, I mean, that's not good.
Yeah. Congratulations, by the way, to your St. Louis Cardinals for sweeping my New York Yankees, who are tumbling since the All-Star break. They had the best record in baseball going into the All-Star break, and now they are just 3 weeks later in the shitter. Injuries are playing a huge part on that, but also the weaknesses are exposed. And it was too good to be true. You just can't outslug everybody week in and week out. Cardinals, good job.
With baseball season, for me, baseball season cannot start until the Blues season is over. And then most people in St. Louis will tell you that baseball doesn't start till Flag Day for real. For me, it doesn't start till the playoffs. That is how spoiled of a fan I am in St. Louis, is that I don't care until the postseason because they're there regularly. 4 out of 5 years.
Yeah, regularly. They got a good team. And I guess Pujols is going out with a bang, right? He's doing well.
Good for him. I was hoping he was going to squeak it out to 700, but he ain't got the horses.
Probably not. Vinyl check time for the Keefy. This one should be very familiar to the co-host of the show because it is a record he sold to me.
That is a great record if you're not.
How good is Electric Ladyland? I love this record. I have been. Have you ever been to Electric Ladyland?
I have not.
I have been to Electric Ladyland Studios in New York City, and I have many fun stories about that place I will not share today. However, I love Jimi Hendrix. I grew up playing Jimi Hendrix music on the bass guitar with my dear best friend who wails on guitar and can play a lot of that Hendrix stuff. You sent this to me beautifully packaged. I owe you a review on Discogs. Just to prove it to people, here's the Nick Mylars, which are better than the Mylars I buy, by the way. And
I don't get those. They don't make those anymore, so I can't get those.
Oh no,
they're all still. I mean, they all do the same. It's all
terrible. But what a great record! I spun it immediately. I love it. It holds up well.
I am glad you enjoy it, and that's why I sold it. I sold that one. I put that one up for sale because it is just taking up space on my shelves, and not that I am in danger of filling them, but I am close to the point where I don't, when I get to the point, I'm only going to have 1,200 records. I'm topping out.
It's a strange cap, but I respect it.
That's
I have
what my
1/10
Calyx,
of that amount right now. Probably maybe if I count what's in storage, I probably have like 300.
that's what my Calyx holds.
Mm.
So I don't want to go past that. And the point of me having records isn't for them to collect dust or to collect value, although I do tend to sell things off when they get too valuable. It's I want them for things that I am listening to, that I am loving, that I am enjoying. And with that one, I don't like a good third of it. And I don't like 1984. I don't like Voodoo Child. I don't like Little Miss Strange. It's not a bad record. It's just what I really like about Jimi Hendrix is the raw, rougher stuff and the live stuff. So I have a lot of the stuff that was never finished. And I like those better than the polished albums.
That's fair. Just some
It's just
free
me.
Yeah, I understand. Just some free advice. If you ever get tired of your kid, I know you're fond of her. You have a whole room and a person you can get rid of in your house and just put records in there. Just an advice.
Well, she's going to be moving, going to college soon. But however, there would be the same issue. Her room is the same size as the sitting room if I moved everything into that. I'm not going to be walking room to room to play records. That's just weird. Tell you what, since you asked so nice, I'm going to check one more.
Well, I have one more. So let me finish mine and then you can check one more.
I'll check one more.
Just letting you know. This is awesome. This got sent to me by a band. I have a review coming up of this, a little roundup review.
Very cool.
Review in many. This is Bad Breeding Human Capital. This is a great UK hardcore band, kind of in the style of old school 80s British and New York hardcore. It came with a 2,000 word manifesto against capitalism. It's pretty amazing. Let's just take out the packaging here. So like, look at this old school vinyl, right? This old school sleeve and the back sleeve.
A little reminiscent of some Bad Religion, some agnostic front in the cover.
Very early Bad Religion, suicidal vibe. Even the B and the B for Bad Breeding kind of looks like the DK of Dead Kennedys on purpose. I love the fist destroying a chain. This is my whole vibe. Everybody knows. The publicist actually had this. So they're in the UK and they have like a distributor in the US that sent this to me. So very cool. Came with a note. We're going to check the note out really quick because it's cool. I like bands send reviewers notes, publicists, record labels send notes with your stuff.
I have Keith. Plenty of those. Yeah.
Hey, Keith, thanks for working the record with us. Thanks for working on the record with us. Jensen of the publishing company. So then inside the bad boy, we have the Bad Breeding. It's like a little booklet with lyrics, very like DIY zine looking. It's like a zine. Then there is a poster. So you have a different kind of style of the album artwork in a poster form. And here's their manifesto on the other side. I'm like, it's quite amazing. And then just for shits and giggles, here's the vinyl. You got the white sleeve inside. It's also
very
like
Hunger Games.
A little Hunger Gamesy, right? And on purpose. And I think again, this is like a paper,
which makes that's very on brand.
A stock paper sleeve. So I will have to fit that guy with a fun Mylar. And then the vinyl is this Fire Engine red. So a lot of care went into this package for this DIY band. Here is like the Angel of Death Grim Reaper portamento on the label on the front. And the second label, side B, is all the track listing on the label with the band name. Very beautifully done. Nicely done. Thank you for sending this to me. The review will come out soon. I'm all about it.
Very cool.
That's my check.
I'm going to go ahead and check one more. And this is something that I have been meaning to put my hands on for some time now. I have not spun it yet. Just came in the mail the other day. The soundtrack to Zabriskie Point. It's a bit of a beater copy, if I'm being quite honest. But it's definitely a beater copy. It's got 3 Pink Floyd tunes on it that have not been necessarily released anywhere else. The record itself, though, you can see that with the reflection, it shows the grooves nicely. It is a perfect perfect copy of the record. So I'm happy to finally be able to listen to this. So just got to clean it. I did clean Come Taste of the Band. Spun that one. Great shape. It's the thing about buying records on Discogs is because I got this for $7-8. I mean, not much to talk, not in terms of dollars, not much to talk about. So hopefully it sounds great.
Right. I don't even remember what I paid for the Jimmy.
$17.
Really? Yeah. Okay. And then the other album is free.
Just for the record, if anybody's looking at my Discogs seller profile, I do not jack up my prices.
I don't mind if you link your Discogs in the description if you're trying to move those things. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it.
Yes and no. Fair enough.
You can add it to the link tree if you want to be a little more discreet. Eventually, when my Discogs is completed, I will add, maybe I'll add mine, or maybe I'll make mine a little more public. Right now, it's just kind of like I'm just sucking at life and not getting that filled out very well. But
I hear you.
I could add these two, and I will say that Zabriskie Point, man, that's very tasty. Could I ask you, what are those 3 unreleased songs? I would love to know what they are.
Oh, have you not heard it?
An unofficial Pink Floyd check now.
Heartbeat Pig Meat. Crumbling Land.
Don't know it.
Come in number 51. Your Time Is Up. I believe one of them, I believe it was Heartbeat Pig Meat, was repurposed later for Dark Side of the Moon.
That sounds about right.
Which they also did for More, as you may recall.
I do. I have More, and I have Obscured by Clouds. I don't have Zabriskie Point. I saw Zabriskie Point while baked out of my mind. I saw Obscured by Clouds, La Vallée, and Obscured by Clouds and Zabriskie Point in Amsterdam while wrecked after going to the Hash Bar. Like yourself, go to the Hash Bar after the movie, not before.
I even have When the Wind Blows soundtrack featuring David Bowie and a whole side of Roger Waters.
Oh, wow.
Along with Roger Waters and Ron Geeson, the Body soundtrack.
Ron Geeson. That's a good
so
one.
I am
before.
doing my best to just get them all.
There it is.
But I have no news this week. So
yeah, I just want to say I'm going on perhaps the most dangerous trip of my entire life. I am going to Psycho Las Vegas with a mostly empty suitcase, preparing to buy vinyl and merch from all these bands from across the world. Holy cow, I may be making a mistake. Maybe a mistake financially, but going on the trip, I don't take a lot of time off. Sort of a half Ghost Cult. I will be reviewing it. Half vacation for me. I don't do Vegas like amateurs do Vegas. Woo! I'm way past the point of eating I overeat at home. I don't need to go to Vegas to do that. I can drink too much here. I don't need to do that. But I'm going to enjoy the concert for 3 days. I'm going 3 of the 4 days. I'm missing the Psycho Swim pre-night show tomorrow, but I will be getting in tomorrow early. And I will tell you all about it after in another episode.
If things work out like they're supposed to, I will be seeing the Toasters on Sunday.
Ooh.
And Telekinetic Yeti next week. So
Nick's return to shows.
Yeah, I've been to 2 shows in 2022.
Yeah, and one of them was very dissatisfying, I remember.
Well, I mean, one of them was Patty Griffin and the Chicks, although the Chicks were really good. But I have not really started going back to shows yet. And I realized during the height of the pandemic, when we were all locking down all the time, that was my release, because I was reviewing shows frequently and going all the time. And, I was able to go to 1 show a week, and I all of a sudden stopped. That was my release. So it is what it is. So I'm happy to go back. I'm really excited to see Telekinetic Yeti. If you like Doom, like you like Doom with only 2 dudes and tuned down to L, they're your boys.
The key of L.
The tuning of L.
The Toasters I have also seen once before, and they are fun live.
I have also seen them.
Seems like you're being dragged to go.
No, the Toasters was my second date with my wife.
I did not know that. That is wild.
No, I'm sorry. Our third date. Our second date was Strutter.
And she still stayed.
We left early.
But she stayed with you.
Yeah, she did.
Holy shit.
Yes, I know. We left early because I wasn't. I'm like, let's just go get drunk.
Not a news story, but I'm unprepared for this, so I should maybe hold it. I have a Kiss thing, but I'll hold it for next week.
Fair enough.
Because I want to be better prepared to talk about it. But there's a little Here's a kiss item that's actually been floating around for a few months, and we missed talking about it. So I memo to self, kiss item next week.
Do we have anything else to talk about this week?
Not really.
All righty. Well, let's bring in our guest.
And our guest is not in the waiting room, so you will need to call in our guest.
You need to pause the recording.
That's fair. That's right. All right, I will pause then.
And now we are joined by one of the greatest detectives Western Canada has ever produced and sent to France to solve murders on the Orient Express, Hercule Poirot of the Gundam band Stormland.
Oh, you're priceless, Nick. No, it's Justin Pierrot of Stormland. But
I told you it wasn't Pierrot.
I do not
Pierrot.
have the glorious mustache.
Real quick, I know we already said this, but I love your accent. You sound like you just walked out of a minor league hockey rink.
Thank you. Sorry, I love the can check you guys do every week, so I had to join in. This is just a craft lager from Parallel 49. They're a local brewery here in Vancouver. If you're ever out in the area, check them out. They do a lot of quirky stuff. Lots of fun.
Well, some of us are drinking local beers. Some of us are supporting our peoples. Keefy.
What? They're not. I don't know. I mean, I live in California. What do you want for my life? Everything costs more here.
They're from Colorado.
Are they? Okay, we get a lot of.
Oh, look at the pour. He's even showing you up on the pour.
Oh, well, I mean, like everybody could show me up on the pores. My pores are poor.
Double rep. This is the pint glass is from another local brewery, Yellow Dog.
Oh, he's even got the fancy English pint glass with the bubble. Who here knows what that bubble's for? Anybody?
I don't, but I'm sure you do.
I do. The bubble was created so that way the glasses would not stick together in the pubs because they would break glasses because they would wash them and they'd stick together. So by putting the bubble there, there's very little touching.
Makes sense.
I have none like that because those bubbles are irritating.
It's like Justin joined a podcast of two jabronis. It's unbelievable.
You guys have a fantastic podcast. I'm a regular listener. I thoroughly enjoy it, and I can't wait to hear what nickname you gave to Keefy this week.
I can tell you.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear it.
Kafka Chakas.
Metamorphosizing right before our eyes.
Dude, he nailed it.
Oh my God. Somebody run out and get me a lottery ticket. This guy. Yeah, that's exactly what he said, almost word for word. It's crazy.
So Justin, I hear tale that you got something coming up. What's the deal?
Yeah, I have a new album coming out September 30th. It's called The Human Cost. 8 tracks of technical progressive death metal inspired by Mobile Suit Gundam. I don't think you're much of a mecha anime guy, but
no, I am more of a Japanese folklore anime guy.
Yeah, which is entirely good, and I'll have to hip you to something a buddy of mine's doing a little later after the show. I think you'll enjoy it. But no, the album's out September 30th. I've got guest appearances from Raw Sewage, from Exhumed and Impaled, and Lita Page from the Hallowed Catharsis, Jisei, and Sissy XO. I know it's a confusing pronoun thing. It appears on the first single, Test Subject, which was released in July. I've put out a second single with a one-take guitar playthrough video on YouTube called Esper. And I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do for September yet, but yeah, other than closing the shirt pre-orders so I have time to print them. September 2nd, that's the next Bandcamp Friday. So stormland.bandcamp.com, pre-order a t-shirt, pre-order a tank top. Show those guns.
I was showing Keefy my forearms today.
Guns out,
I've decided they're manly as hell. They're not, but
no, like you look like you've done some heavy lifting in your day.
I have not.
Mm. And I look like a Monchichi, and if I want to get a tattoo in Las Vegas,
I don't know if Justin's old enough for Monchichis.
Yeah, probably not. You know what a Monchichi is.
I have an old soul.
So
how old are you, Justin?
I am 37.
Got a baby.
No, he's not. No, he's not old enough for Monchichi.
Get his 20-year-old face though. Like,
don't you have like 17 kids?
I have 2.
That's not. Wow, I missed that a little bit.
17.
Yeah, no, 8-year-old daughter, 6-year-old son.
All right.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you are about 6'8".
No, I'm only 5'9.5". I'm good at figuring out the angles that make me look tall.
Oh, you're
it's the
pulling a
sa-
Glenn
it's the-
Danzig all the time.
the Tom Cruise angle.
Oh,
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I always thought that you were exceedingly tall, but apparently
No,
I'm
no,
taller
no.
than you.
Yes.
Taller than you, and I use less strings. I think this makes me manlier.
Yeah, yeah. 6-string bass, 8-string guitar. I gotta make up for the lack of height somehow.
What are you, animals as leaders?
I'm aiming more for this.
oh, my boys. I just saw
Yes.
them.
Such a great live band. I really hope this is the cycle that kicks them up to the next level. Just great dudes. Fun fact on Esper, when I was trying to work out the solo, I got a guitar lesson from Greg from Allegiant, and we ended up working out that solo.
Wait, that's how that name is pronounced?
Esper or Allegiant?
No, Allegiant.
Yes.
I thought it was a Legion.
I always thought it was
Legion.
Allegaon.
I'm pretty sure that to punk me in an interview, Greg told me it was like, say it like a leggy blonde. And then I went and interviewed Riley this year for that album. And he was like, no, that's not it. Greg likes to make fun of you or whoever, journalist.
Fair enough.
That is Greg, yes.
The most metal thing in the world is to have your band name that is unpronounceable and with a logo that's unreadable.
Right. And somehow they're still successful on Metal Blade and everything. Riley's also the shortest guy in that band. That whole band's a bunch of ents, and he's like Frodo.
Like you figure Greg's tall, and then you see Mike, and you don't realize he's actually that tall.
Mike is like 7 feet tall. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I want to go back to something I said weeks ago about Revocation being tiny little dudes with huge voices. I was wrong. I was thinking of Abysmal Dawn.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, they are so good though.
They're amazing.
They should be bigger. They should be huge, but
they're not. And they play Steinbergers.
Now, yeah. But I saw them opening for Obscura a few years ago, and I don't remember them having the Steinbergers then, but just phenomenal band. Charles Elliott deserves more credit as a guitar player and a vocalist.
Agreed. I saw them opening for Cannibal Corpse with Obituary, and I'm like, whoa. Those guys are the size of my kid, and they had Steinberger guitars. And I'm like, well, I guess if you had an SG up there, it would look ridiculous.
Yes, and they're just up there so small. Small.
My third to last, it's small. My third to last show before the shutdown was Abysmal Dawn, Hideous Divinity, and Vader in Brooklyn when I still lived in New York. That show was insane. And I'm forgetting there was another band that opened. Not Surreption, but somebody else really good, and it was a sick show, and I was at the Polish Hall, so a lot of beer and pierogi that night.
Can you think of a more appropriate place to see Vader than a Polish
none?
Hall?
He was like in all his glory. He was like, I always have a low opinion of Americans, but this is a really cool place to have a show. Peter, he's incredible.
Wait, you can have pierogies and metal at the same time?
And kishka and all potato latkes. I was like in hog heaven, literally and figuratively.
These American metal fests are missing out. North American in general. Next year for Modified Ghost Fest here in Vancouver, I got to harass those promoters to get like a pierogi truck outside the venue.
Word. I'd like to go to Full Terror Assault. That looks fun. It's a little bit of a troop because I don't drive, but it's sort of in the no man's land between Chicago and where Nick is in St. Louis in Southern Illinois.
Where is it? Is that the one in Carbondale?
South of Carbondale. It's like Cave in Rock.
Wow. So it's near where like Jim and Huck Finn went?
Something like that. Easy, buddy.
Hey, I said Jim.
I know.
I've read the book. I've done papers on the book. I'm literate.
Hey.
Who says I'm not?
While we're clowning around, let's talk seriously for a second, Justin, because this is like really our first time meeting you, and the mutual respect on the tweet realm has been fun and appreciated, all around. Let's just get the 30-second origin story of how you got into this music and how you started to play music, because I think that's a fun story. I think people want to get to know you a little more. They only know you through a screen name and your excellent tweetmanship.
Thank you.
Personship. I apologize.
Oh
no, I'm he him dude. So it's
I'm aware. Well, but just for everyone else, I don't want to pigeonhole.
Yeah, no. When I was a young kid, like 7 or 8 years old, a neighbor that I'd go do taekwondo with, he introduced me to Anthrax, and I was hooked. Like my parents were always listening to rock and roll and stuff like that, so I grew up listening to stuff like The Doors and Dire Straits and the music of that nature. And Anthrax was just the next logical step. And I know that's going to lead into a little bit of what we're talking about later, because that's one of my favorite. That's how I got one of my favorite live albums. But beyond that, my parents got me a guitar at 16 and just kept trying to play and get better. In my early 20s, I went to school and got an associate's degree in audio engineering, which was the most expensive hobby I've ever taken up. I'd hoped to get into post-production, doing audio for film and TV, but didn't work out. So here I am with this wonderful hobby, making this wonderful, horrible music, much to my wife's chagrin at times, much to my kids' amusement.
Yeah, I can understand that. My wife loves it when, like, I wrote this song that I could never make good because the time signature is about 7/16.
Yeah.
I mean, a thing that makes no sense to anybody. Like John Lee Hooker could have done it as a boogie blues. It's that crazy.
John Lee Hooker could have done anything.
Well, yeah, it's John Lee Hooker. I mean, he's a god among insects. But he's proof that you don't need to be able to sing to be a singer. But, she loves it when I play that. And she also drags me to Broadway shows. We saw Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat this past weekend. I was telling my buddy at work, it was spectacular. Oh my God, I was almost crying. And the show makes no sense, but whatever. Yeah. It's better, not as good as Songs as Cats, but a better plot. Andrew Lloyd Webber, if you're listening to this, which you're probably dead. He is almost dead, right?
I couldn't tell you, but
Jesus Christ Superstar is over 50 years old.
Yeah, actually, I think my wife's favorite band got their start because they were both in a production of Jesus Christ Superstar, because I think that's how the two guys from Air Supply got their start.
For the record, Ian Gillan of Deep Purple played Jesus in the original recording. So it's kind of metal. It's a little rocking. Yeah. But so my buddy asked me, so you're going to these things for her? Are you dragging her to any of these underground metal shows you go to? No, I am not. I am not even dragging her to the above ground metal shows that I go to.
I will gladly go with my wife to see Air Supply or anything she wants, because she has been more than patient. She's gone with me to see Devin Townsend. She's gone with me to see the Black Dahlia murder.
My wife still owes me 3 samurai movies for a deal we made in 2009 that I would watch Lord of the Rings. She asked me like 2 years ago, what about Last Samurai? Doesn't that count? You watched that before you met me. So I don't know that you can put that on the tab.
No, it's gotta be Yojimbo,
Sanjuro, and Seven Samurai in that order. It's going to be Toshiro Mifune for a weekend. It's got to be seven. It's got to be Seven Samurai, because if I have to watch these 4.5 hour goddamn tree walking movies, you're going to watch 4 hours of Toshiro Mifune raising eyebrows, because that's basically his whole move.
Yeah.
There you go. Samurai.
He was a handsome man. He could pull that off.
Oh, he was a very handsome man. He wasn't the most handsome man in those movies, but that's besides the point. Anyway, we are going to rattle off the rails. Oh, Keefy wants to say something.
Andrew Lloyd Webber is only 74. He's still alive. Anyway.
Whoa, he was really prolific at a very young age.
Like hell of a career.
Sondheim, they were like cranking him out multiples.
Holy crap.
I have nothing else to add except you got played, Nick. I know you love your wife, but like I'd not let that go. You need.
Well, when we watched The Matrix 4, I'm like, we got to watch it, because I have never seen the Matrix movies.
And then you binged them all recently.
Yeah, and I saw all 4 of them. The first one's spectacular. We're getting ready to pop the third one, and I look at her, and I'm going to put this on your tab. She's like, this isn't a tab movie. Yeah, after the last 2, this is on the tab. And, I mean, it's never going to get paid, so I mean, whatever. But anyway,
let's also just shout out one last thing, which is that Justin lives in the same place as Devin Townsend's Spirit Box and like 3 Inches of Blood and whatever other bands those guys are in today. So I'm very jealous.
Yeah. Justin lives in, if it has not been made clear, he lives in Canadian Florida.
Yes, 32 degrees Celsius today, which I think is somewhere in the high to mid 90s in
Whatever
America.
that means.
That's hotter. See, to me, we got to about 27 Celsius today. Unlike my pal Keefy, I can convert to the metric system at will.
I ain't got time for that, man. Busy. It is a cool
man. I see all that embroidery and sewing work.
Yeah.
That does not take just a few seconds.
We weren't talking about that.
No, I was talking about the battle vests in the back.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the vest later when you talk
Oop.
about Anthrax, because obviously, clearly, my center patch there is the band from my hometown, partially from my hometown. So, anywho, enough rigmarole. I'm sorry, everybody. This is, I knew it was going to get goofy with the three of us together a little bit in a good way, in a possibly good way. Hopefully, this time we will link all of Justin's stuff in the description, which we did not do for our friend.
Oh shit!
Yes, we still didn't. And I can't find his shit anywhere, so I have to have you help me. I told you to like ping him and ask him for it.
I have it.
Hey, Danny,
I
hope
did.
you're good.
Wait a
Thanks
minute.
for being on the show.
Hi, Danny. I thought we did it. I'm sorry.
Anywho, I'll let you steer the ship there, Nick. From
All
here.
right. So
Shut
we
up
are
and
doing.
let you do it.
Now, for me, I'm probably a bit of an oddball when it comes to this. The live album to me is always my favorite album, my favorite thing that any band has done, which is why it disappoints me deeply that there's no legitimate, normal Pink Floyd live album. You only have the 2 live albums without Roger, or the Wall live album with Roger, but 1 not on vinyl. And 2, it's the Wall show. It's not like Animals or Wish You Were Here or Dark Side of the Moon, something like that. This all goes back to when I was a young boy. And I'm going to wrap around to that in a minute. So here's how we're going to do this. We'll each do 1 album. We'll each talk a little bit about that album, what we know, what we don't know. It'll be me, Justin, Keefy, in that order. So for me, my love of the live album, everything that I think I am and that we are as human beings largely starts when we are children. And I don't know if you two remember this particular moment in your lives, but I remember the very first time I owned my own album. It was a cassette tape. But the first music I ever had that was mine, that was not taped off the radio, was Black Sabbath Live Evil. And what I did not know when it was handed to me was that Ozzy Osbourne was not on there. What I also did not really put 2 and 2 together, even though I was a huge fan of Ozzy at that time, was that Ozzy was in this band called Black Sabbath. What I knew was that the Road Warriors used Iron Man to come out to the ring with. So you'd hear, and then the Road Warriors come out, beat the crap out of the jobbers, pose, flex, and then you tell them, Paul, and then Precious Paul Ellering would finish it up. That, it was the greatest 45 seconds on TV. I mean, I could probably squirt faster than that, at age 10. So anyway, so my favorite live album of all time is, of course, Black Sabbath Live Evil. And because I'm that guy, I brought it with me on vinyl for this. It is a nice gatefold. It is the last thing that Ronnie James Dio did with his first run with Black Sabbath. In case anybody's wondering, yes, it is in the Mylar sleeves to keep the static down. There's no great insert. All the inserts are in the gatefold. But what I love about this record is this is a great album for a band, a classic band, at that point, legendary band. After they had changed singers, they had taken a new direction. Dio took Black Sabbath into a different realm. I thought that he made Black Sabbath more of what they wanted to be because he didn't have Ozzy's vocal limitations. So I'm just going to throw out the track listing here. If anybody wants to jump in, yell point. Side 1, E5150, Neon Nights, never got that song. NIB, Children of the Sea, Voodoo. So you've got some great classics. You've got some great new stuff. Side 2, Black Sabbath, War Pigs, Iron Man, the classic triumvirate. Side 3, The Mob Rules, and Heaven and Hell. Heaven and Hell, even back then, they would play for about 30 to 45 minutes. It was like their Casey Jones. If the Grateful Dead were Black Sabbath, they would play Heaven and Hell, and probably only Heaven and Hell. That would be the show. We're gonna start with a Heaven and Hell, smoke some doobs in the middle, and see you next week, Cleveland, Toledo, whatever. Smoke pot. Side 4, Sign of the Southern Cross. And because there was not enough Heaven and Hell on side 3, they went back to it. They returned to Heaven and Hell to play it for another 5 to 7 minutes, because that's why you're here, right? And then Paranoid, followed by Children of the Grave. So they played both children's songs. Children of the Sea, and Children of the Grave. I think they should have done one more with one of the other with Ian Gillan, Children of the Air or something, or Children of the Earth. Anyway. And then they finish off the set with the song everyone's been waiting to hear. If anybody can guess this song, I will give you $5 American.
Is it Paranoid?
No, they already played Paranoid.
No.
That's a terrible guess.
Yes, it was.
Keefy, you got anything?
Probably something not expected and innocuous. I feel like we've discussed this once before.
We did when we did this episode that got screwed up. It was Fluff.
That's it.
Because, yeah. Fluff. That's what the encore, you come out, yeah, all right. Here's an acoustic Tony Iommi composition. Drive safely, everybody. Me and the rest of the boys, we're just going to go off the stage. So yeah, that is Live Evil, which this is a club edition, by the way. It is a Columbia House edition of the record. So technically it's a bootleg.
Is
Thoughts?
it a bootleg? Sorry, had to. Sorry, Justin.
Justin doesn't say a boot.
He doesn't.
Justin, he says a boat.
Oh, nice.
Yes. I used to work at a call center many, many years ago. So dealing with Americans, I've picked up certain things like y'all.
I love y'all. I'm not even from the South, and I say y'all. I've been saying it since I'm a little kid. I love y'all.
I'm from the city that doesn't know if we're South or North. We're Northern more than Southern, and we don't say that.
I also think y'all is a really great replacement if you're not sure of pronouns. I think just y'all or folks is my other go-to. I know.
I think instead of that, you should just say cockfuckers.
No.
Doesn't necessarily apply to everyone.
Yeah, no.
Nobody's a cockfucker's not a thing.
I realized
picture that in your head.
I got called out this week by Urban Dictionary because I read cockwomble, and I'm like, oh shit, that's me. Go look it up. Anyway, Justin, you're on the clock.
All right, first one for me, going back, as we said, is Anthrax Live the Island Years, which is actually one of the first 2 cassettes I ever owned. That same neighbor, after we'd moved, we still kept in touch for a little while. He gave me his cassette copies of Live the Island Years and The Persistence of Time. And so I didn't know what a good live album was supposed to sound like, but I thought then, and still think it does sound pretty good. Plus it's got surprisingly 2 covers. I know you're an Ace Frehley fan, Nick, and it's got the Anthrax cover of Parasite on there.
Which is from Attack of the Killer Bees, which was my introduction to Anthrax.
Yes. Not necessarily the best introduction because it was quite literally the B-sides, but
it is literally my favorite Anthrax release.
Why? Is it for starting up a posse?
No, if I'm going to start up a posse, I'm going to get a posse in effect. And we got more rhymes than your whole damn crew.
Yeah. Also, they also make an appearance, Public Enemy on Bring the Noise.
That was not, no, that was Beastie Boys, sir.
Posse in Effect, God Flavor, Terminator.
No.
Sorry, I'm just remembering the lyrics.
No, Posse in Effect is a song from Beastie Boys' 1987 magnum opus, Licensed to Ill.
Okay, well, I am hoisted by my own petard, so
I'm going to say that Public Enemy took that from them, which would not be the first time a very serious rap group took something from that record. NWA used that for Boys in the Hood. They used the beer drinking, breast thinking, sniffing glue as a sample.
Interesting.
I know way more about late 80s hip hop than most people would probably expect.
We all have our secrets.
I also love disco and the Bee Gees.
You know what? I can't hate on disco. Those were some tight ass rhythm sections.
I know, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm sorry. Let's move on to this record. Let's move on to this record.
Okay. Oh no, it is the guy in the Seal T-shirt. He's like, oh no, disco.
Let move back onto your record that I don't like.
Yeah. Okay. So
I had it. I got rid of it.
All right. So it's the last recording with what is considered the classic Anthrax lineup. Joey Belladonna, Dan Spitz, Scott Ian, Frank Bello, Charlie Benante, and of course, after that, it was the last album with Island Records. They eventually moved on. We got John Bush. We got some.
Yeah, the album was called you didn't say the title. It was Anthrax Live: The Island Years.
Yes. Anyways, it had NFL, the John Belushi song. Sorry, the Belushi song. Ethel Nikufesin, Nice Fucking Life. AIR, Parasite.
Hey, we don't cuss on this podcast.
Oh yeah, beer, metal, and swearing. We don't cuss. No sweating. Anyways, yeah, keep it in the family. The anti-racism song with the words you can't say anymore.
Wait a minute, that's what that song's about?
Yeah.
I look, I was, in early high school and on the pots back then, so I don't really know.
Yeah, I think it was inspired by Stephen King's Apt Pupil. I could be wrong.
I did not know that was a Stephen King movie. Amazing performance by Malcolm McDowell, though.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, not Malcolm McDowell.
Not Malcolm McDowell. Ian McKellen.
Yeah. Yes. And moving on, Cotton Amash, Indians, because Joey Belladonna is partly indigenous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Antisocial, a cover from the French rock band Trust. Bring the Noise with Public Enemy, and I think Ice-T made an appearance.
The only thing I didn't like about that version of the song was that when I put it on mixtapes, there was like 2 minutes of them talking before they got into it. I mean, you should never have a stage rap that goes 2 minutes.
Yes, I Am the Law, the Judge Dredd song, Metal Thrashing Mad, and then In My World, and Now It's Dark. Yeah, I don't know. I wore the hell out of that tape.
That is a really good set list if you're a fan of Anthrax. Which, as we've discussed many times, I'm not. That album was what taught me I am not a fan of this. Because if I listen to your live album and I'm not like, hell yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, I don't know if there's really a full, proper John Bush live album. I'm sure there's live tracks out there, but I don't know if they ever did. I got to go back and check.
So technically they have two. They have the Greater of Two Evils, which was a live in the studio live album.
Also, that's what the Island Years was. Half of the Island Years was like that too.
And a friend of mine was at that gig. I wish I had been, but they did the classics, some rare stuff that they started putting in the set list, like Medusa and things. That's where the Medusa kind of reimagining came from with Bush, and they can occasionally still do it. Super heavy song. I think that's actually technically a before Belladonna. It's a
the Neil Turbin
years, the first album, right? And they have another one which I love, which is After We've Come for You All. They did a Blu-ray DVD that ended up having a live album attached to it, a part of it.
That's the one where they did the Kiss portmanteau, right?
Maybe. And it's in Chicago, so there's a lot of Chicago banter.
Oh, no, the one I'm thinking of is from Scotland.
Oh, that's more recent. That's the Kings of Scotland with Joey. And which I love because it has the Kiss artwork, right? The Kiss Alive.
Kiss Rock and Roll Over.
Yeah, which is like my first record I ever bought, by the way.
Don't like that one.
Yeah, it's a shame.
I'm not trying to be that guy.
You are being that guy.
I just ended up as that. I'm sorry.
Drink your beer and pipe down over there, to blaspheme against my Anthrax at this time. I just saw them, by the way, also like literally a week and a half ago, and they were great. And they played a set that is very much like the Island Years, with a few exceptions.
Did they have any of the Bush songs? Did they have
only unintentionally, just only, and they had not been doing any. And what's really funny is when Joey came back in the band. So when Anthrax played the Big Four at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York, my hometown. They were declared. We were given the key to the city of the Bronx for Anthrax Day. A friend of mine who until recently worked for the Bronx Borough President's office helped that happen. I was the only member of the press, the music press, that got to go to the Anthrax Day pre-live celebration. So I went down. I was living in Boston. I went down to New York really quick for a day. Spent the day at the new Yankee Stadium. I had not even seen a game there. They did a big television broadcast. They were presented the plaque. They were read a proclamation made up of Anthrax puns. It was great, and song titles. And I hung out with Joey and his wife for a minute, and I was like, man, I'm so thrilled you're back, and I'm so excited. I had not really heard much of worship music yet, and just the singles. And I said, like, how do you feel about doing the Bush songs? Because he basically sang your songs his whole time. He's like, dude, I'm ready to do anything they want. He's like, we're going to do one at the concert. And it was only, and he took a shot at it. It's still like not the right mode for him, like Bush's got a different kind of voice. A little harder.
Very different styles.
Yeah, but I just think like for Joey to just like put himself, and he's a guy who does covers, but I think he just can't fully put himself into the Bush mode, whatever that is. He's good at it. It's a good, like the fact that the crowd went nuts when they did it. They were already they opened the show with like 4 raging mosh pit bangers, including Metal Thrashing Mad and Madhouse right at the beginning of the show, and they closed with Indians. So it was a lot of circle pits and moshing, and they did only in the middle, and it went over huge. And I was like, why don't they do more of this? And Joey has the range to do the John stuff. They just don't. That's I was hoping now for the 40th anniversary of Anthrax, and this was also their first proper headline tour. I don't know if they've gotten to Canada. This is their first headline tour of America in like 7 or 8 years. They really have only been playing occasional festivals and opening for other bands. They haven't been.
Yeah, the last I've seen them twice now, both times opening for Slayer.
Right. And that tour was big for them. And they weren't even the next to last band on that tour.
No, they were when I saw them, it was a 5-band show the last time. It was Napalm, Testament, Anthrax, Lamb of God, Slayer. That was a long day. It was a long day, and I didn't have enough money to drink it all away. Because it's like a 7-hour show, even though it only ended at 10:30, which is messed up. But it's funny you mentioned circle pits. I actually showed the kid recently. I said moshing or something, and she's like, "What's that?"
Oh no, you have messed up.
Oh, so we went to the YouTubes, and I showed it to her. And she's like, "Oh my God, why?" Because you just do.
Consensual violence is an act of male bonding.
Right. And then when somebody falls, you pick them up because you don't want anybody to get injured, just hurt. Hurt and injured are different things.
There you go. Spoken like a true hockey fan.
A former player. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was a goalie.
Okay.
Which barely counts, but it kind of counts.
It counts.
All right, Keefy, what you got?
Oh, man. So Nick and I had an aborted version of this that I wish
it was a technological abortion.
Yeah, I wish it had come out right, but having a little more time now to reflect on it, I'm changing my position because I can do that. Nobody heard the first one. There are many live albums that I love.
There are many live albums out there, but this one is mine.
In a way. I don't know if it's just kind of the time or whatever it is. There are a lot of ones that I like. At one point, I was of the opinion that there are no good live albums. They're hard to make and hard to come by, and they're manufactured and they're not real. And in the moment, and like a true document of a band, they're supposed to be. They're not always. I do like the Island years, which, by the way, like here's another notable thing. Anthrax was headlining arenas, and they had 2 platinum singles at this time when they did that album. So good call, Justin. People don't realize that. And the reason Anthrax is in the Big Four is always a debate about who's in the Big Four, and Anthrax should be somehow booted off the island. No, they're the second most popular band by sales in the Big Four. They have more record sales than Slayer. I'm pretty sure. Maybe not more merch sales, but certainly
that's because Slayer only has 1 record.
Slayer's a t-shirt band at this point, or at least it was for a lot of years.
Look, I love Slayer, but Slayer is only good if you listen to it on 10.
All right. Yeah, hot takes about Slayer.
Which
my
makes
record.
Sorry.
I had a bad experience seeing them live, so it really just soured my opinion. And it was with Hanneman too, so you can't say, it's because Hanneman wasn't there.
It's kind of funny. I'll just say this: the last like 5 years of Slayer with Hanneman, you didn't know what band you were going to get, and Tom was also badly injured, and I think he wasn't telling anybody, but he was like, I don't want to say mailing it in, but just not capable. Some of those years he would have bad shows. People want to come at me in the comments, come at me in the Twitter comments. I saw them have several bad shows, including when Marilyn Manson embarrassed them at Mayhem Fest in Boston. Like all the Slayer fans watched Slayer play badly, drunken, bad performance, and Manson came out and they booed him lustily, and he's not deserving of any praise right now. But I'm just saying, like, if he, who was one of the most worst live performers in history, could embarrass Slayer in front of a crowd that was for Slayer, they have bad nights. I'm just saying, every band has bad nights, including the band I'm about to talk about. But like, I love Slayer. They were great. I actually seen Slayer almost more than any other band beside Anthrax, and which is saying something. But and they were great that last night I saw them. mostly. So on the Farewell tour, I saw the next to last, or like one of the last shows ever of Slayer. But my album, I'll stop blathering. My album is Allison Chains Unplugged, a show I desperately tried to get into, couldn't scalp tickets, couldn't win tickets, couldn't beg cajole back in 1996, 95, 96, when they recorded this at Berklee Academy of Music. This was their first show in 3 years. Lane Staley, well-documented issues with drugs. He ended up dying of a drug overdose years later. Very sad. He's struggling in this performance, which to me makes it even better, because there are times when he's incredible, and then there's times it's not that he's bad, but you just feel bad for him. And apparently Jerry was sick with like a flu, so he kept like off camera in between takes, puking into a bucket next to him, and the whole crowd on like the whole stage band smelled it the whole show. Like they could like, you know, like change the bucket out, but still like reek. Yeah, I'm just saying. Sorry. But again,
it reminds me of one time I watched we're watching a Rams game. Marshall Falk has the flu. It's an important game. He plays. He's in the offset eye, and he just throws up on the field. No timeout. Just Ralph's threw his face mask out his mouth guard and still caught the ball.
He was once the leading yardage gainer in NFL history for the longest time.
Yeah, that was from 1999 Super Bowl. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, Falk was great. He should have stayed there. Anywho, so yeah, if you want, I'll run down the track listing and give some thoughts. I love this. I love the video performances. I think it's the best Unplugged, but bar none. I know a lot of people will argue and say Nirvana. I think this is better.
No, it's Kiss.
It is not. Anyway, drink your beer.
I'm not fighting. I'm with Keefy on this one.
Yeah. So they opened with Nutshell, which was beautifully done. They walked out on stage as one person in the band kept, begin the show, and one person at a time would come on and start playing their part. Pretty much as you hear it. Nutshell is the perfect Lane Staley song in many ways. Obviously this Chains had a lot of, they had like unplugged EPs, and then they just were like, well, we'll just start putting unplugged songs on our records, which is what they do now. So always looking forward to the more mellow stuff. Brother is next from the Sap EP. Wonderful. No Excuses, great song. Was an MTV video hit with a cool video. Sludge Factory, an unusual long and weird song, like a huge metal, doom metal song from the self-titled album. That's really well done. Down in a Hole, the classics. Angry Chair was cut from the broadcast, but ended up being in the album. And as a very unique kind of call, it is actually a solo Lane composition. I don't think a lot of people know that song was written by Lane, maybe except for the solo. Rooster, still a show closer for Allison Chains today in the middle of the show. Got Me Wrong, Clerks from the original Clerks soundtrack and the Sap EP. Heaven Beside You, next, the big radio hit. Wood, of course, the all-time best Allison Chains song potentially. And then two more, Frogs, not on the broadcast, but in the video, in the live album, but not on the broadcast. Over Now, which closes the MTV broadcast, which I love and is a wonderful sad song and very apropos of this band. And then they wrote like a brand new song for the Unplugged, which no one ever talks about, Killer Is Me, which I think is an exceptional track, and you only see it in occasionally a video or the album version. And they apparently were going to do a whole bunch of other songs they workshopped, and they didn't quite. They were trying to do Facelift, Man in the Box. They were like, the Facelift material didn't make it because it's just too heavy and didn't translate enough to to try to do this. I think Love Hate Love would have been an interesting Unplugged song, by the way.
Who was I remember Jerry Cantrell talking about they had a second guitar player in order to be louder.
Yeah.
Who was that? Was that anybody of import?
Yeah, I think so. So Seattle musician Scott Moore is a well-known producer and engineer. He worked at Studio 7, where a lot of those grunge albums were made. I don't like that word that much, but the grunge era albums, Pearl Jam, Mudhoney, Screaming Trees, My Beloved Screaming Trees, Tad, a lot of albums were made at that. He was the house engineer and occasional producer there. He came on and was the second guitarist on there, so Jerry could kind of do his thing. They probably could have had a third guitarist because Chains albums have a lot of layering.
Well, Jerry Cantrell talked about how he would do 3 tracks every album.
He
would do a main rhythm track, a lead track, and then a buttressing track.
Right. I believe Scott Moore has dementia and he's in a nursing home, but he's only like 60 years old. Very sad.
Agreed. I have seen both Allison Chains and Jerry Cantrell solo live. Saw Jerry Cantrell opening up for Metallica on the Reload tour. It was terrible. I also saw Allison Chains opening up for Kiss on the Alive Worldwide tour, the first leg, which was some of their very last shows. And it was also terrible.
Oh no. Why was it terrible?
Nobody moved except Mike Inez. And Mike Inez, basically it was, he'd run to the stage, do that bass player hair shake thing, you know, shaking the crotch, head over his bass, go back, do a kick, go back to his amp, take a slug, do this, and then just repeat. And then Lane Staley just was so far gone.
Well, yeah, you're lucky you got to see that, because again, Lane, this is one of his last performances ever. He that handful of Kiss shows and never again. And
I only found out recently that they only did like a month on that tour.
Yeah,
and that was it. And they were only there because STP had to bow out. It was supposed to have been Stone Temple Pilots with Scott Weiland, but ironically, because Scott Weiland was on too much heroin, he had to go to rehab, and so then they got Lane Staley.
Yeah, just a lot of things. I was supposed to see Lane at Woodstock 94, and they canceled last minute, and Nine Inch Nails got elevated into their spot, which is the famous mud episode of them getting the mud and jumping in the mud and then coming back on stage covered in mud, which seemed to fit the music perfectly. I saw Alice in Chains, not with Lane. I've seen them a bunch with William. I love William. People will come at me again.
He's very good. He's very good.
He's great. I've seen him solo live. I love his unplugged stuff. That his unplugged record, that and the Laura Jane Grace unplugged record from the pandemic year, Stay Alive, literally kept me alive during that like 5 months I didn't leave my house, and I was like freaking out in my bedroom in Brooklyn, basically.
For me, that was Pulse.
I know. And I listened to a Heavy Dose of Floyd back then too. And then Jerry's new solo album is wonderful. I highly recommend people check it out. I think he's going to do another run of headline dates with Greg Puciato from Dillinger as his vocalist, who basically does the Lane stuff. And yeah, man, I love this album. There's other albums. I know people will probably expect me to name check some brutal thing. I also said that I love like Johnny Cash, Folsom Prison Blues. So I guess when it comes to unplugged records, I like the chill stuff.
Perfectly reasonable. And you know, Alice in Chains was really the biggest doom metal band of the 90s. I don't care what anybody says, they were a doom metal band. They continue to be a doom metal band. And
I am going to allow that only because I say Johnny Cash was metal.
I'll allow it. But
you have to, it's my podcast.
But I mean, Alice in Chains was the best band to come out of Seattle, with Nevermore in a close second.
I would definitely agree with that. And especially out of that scene, they did something that I think holds up musically forever. Don't get me wrong, I like Nirvana, but Nirvana doesn't hold up musically. Nirvana holds up nostalgically. And Soundgarden, you know, I once Chris Cornell stopped singing the way he did on Bad Motorfinger, I was done. Which unfortunately is the majority of their career.
Fair.
I don't like the straining. I'm sorry.
Blaspheme. You're not wrong. But anyway, also I love Screaming Trees. I know Mark hated the band and hated all the music they made, but his voice was magical, and Gary Lee could riff with everybody. And I love Pearl Jam. It's, you know, like the first Pearl Jam records, the first 2 or 3. The third one's actually pretty good too, thinking back on it. Then I kind of stopped. Not that they turned bad. I just fell off with them. I just stopped paying attention. But Nirvana is still good. I think they hold up. I still love Bleach. Actually, I got into them early. And I was very surprised at how popular they got. I did not think this was going to be a big band. But yeah, I love Alice in Chains. They're like easily my 3rd favorite band ever, or 4th favorite band ever at worst. And I am really screwed. I hope I go to Vegas and win a lot of money this weekend, because I cannot afford $300 for that box set. But I need it.
Good luck. Good luck. I am going to go ahead and keep the rig rolling, because I definitely have to do something Floydian. I think the obvious choice would be Roger Waters' The Wall, either live in Berlin or Roger Waters' The Wall. But I actually went with David Gilmour live in Pompeii. And I am on record as fighting with Keefy over and over about the quality of David Gilmour and what he brings to the table. However, this album for me is the what's what of his entire career, save for the original solo record he did with the band he was in before Pink Floyd in 1978. He's on this record, he's got stuff from all of his solo albums except the first two. He's got a bunch of Pink Floyd classics. It's got 5 a.m., Rattle That Lock, quite possibly the two best songs off of Rattle That Lock. Faces of Stone, What Do You Want From Me? Okay, What Do You Want From Me is a little bit dumb. The Blue, which is from On an Island, The Great Gig in the Sky, A Boat Lies in Waiting, which is a song he wrote in tribute to Rick Wright, Wish You Were Here, Money, In Any Tongue, High Hopes, which is the crowning jewel of the Division Bell, One of These Days, Shine On You Crazy Diamond Parts 1 through 5, which apparently has to be on every live album he is associated with. It is on all of them. Fat Old Son, which is the first song he wrote for Pink Floyd. Roger told him, look, buddy, Sid's not here anymore to write all this stuff. I'm doing what I can. I need some help. So David came up with Fat Old Son, which is a great little song about nothing. And Coming Back to Life, On an Island, the title track from his third solo record. And you will never hear me say an unkind word about David Gilmour's On an Island. It's hard to call it a collection of songs. It is a collection of moods. It is very esoteric. It is very atmospheric. And that is what I really love about it, because it gives me everything I love about David Gilmour for 45 minutes. Then Today, which I don't recall, Sorrow, Run Like Hell. I really wish they would let go of Run Like Hell. I am so sick of it. It's on every Pink Floyd and Pink Floyd related live record. The song is not that great out of context. Time, Breathe in the Air, Reprise, of course. And what does it finish with? Say it all with me now. Comfortably Numb. Nobody? Okay, just me. But seriously, a great album. It sounds amazing. It was recorded over 2 nights in the amphitheater at Pompeii, where Pink Floyd had originally recorded their first long form video.
Okay.
I mean, everybody knows Pink Floyd is my favorite band ever. So, I have to recuse myself somewhat. I mean, all these are my favorite bands ever, but I do love Gilmour. Nick has said very unkind, not nice things about David Gilmour, and he should go to his room.
I'm in my room.
Oh, sorry. I was quoting the South Park movie. Guillaume said very nasty things about God, and he's on punishment. Anywho, so yeah, I don't know. Good set list, not that unpredictable. Don't let your girlfriend or wife write your song lyrics ever. Don't let your wife star in your movies if you care about making movies. Rob Zombie, I'm looking at you.
Kevin Smith.
I mean, is she the star? Has she been the star of any of his movies? She's been a character in his movies.
She was a significant character in Jay and Bob Strike Back.
I'd say his daughter's been in more of Kevin Smith's movies.
His daughter is an incredible actress who I want to see in more things. Did you see her in what was the Tarantino California movie a couple of years ago? She was amazing.
Nope, Brad Pitt's in it.
You stop it.
No, I can't.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I actually probably will watch that though.
I have not seen it, but you watch Bullet Train. I don't care if you hate Brad Pitt. You will love this movie. Plus, it is an adaptation of a manga.
See, I don't say manga, I say manga.
Welcome to the new co-host of the Glacial Musical Podcast, Justin and Keefy. No Brad Pitt.
I've been fired. I'm just gonna sit here with my thumb up my ass.
You're out. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I don't give it a natural hatred of that guy. I don't understand why.
Who?
Brad Pitt.
Because he's bad at acting.
He's not.
And Justin, what's your next one?
Devin Townsend doing Ocean Machine and other songs live at the Ancient Roman Theater with the Plovdiv Orchestra.
Good one.
I like all those words except Devin Townsend. It's okay.
It's okay. Not everybody connects with Devin Townsend on the emotional wave.
No, I've never heard it.
Oh.
I didn't say I disliked it. I just don't like. I've never actually heard Devin Townsend.
This is actually a good album to start with.
Well, the best live album from a band always is.
Yes. He gets, managed to integrate the orchestra very well. It's got a collection of songs from his solo projects, various solo projects, up through a full rendition of his 1996-97 solo album, Ocean Machine, which is one of the most emotionally powerful albums I've ever heard. Anytime I listen to it, it leaves me in tears. It is it's something that hits very hard for me. And even if I don't connect emotionally on the same level with this current material, it's still something I can go back to if I ever need a good cry.
That's a very important thing to say, is a lot of people don't realize. I mean, I'm sure everybody listening to this does, but we do, as metalheads, we do connect to these songs emotionally. There is an album by Eye of Solitude called Dear Insanity, although they called it an EP because it's only one track. However, that track is 58 minutes, and it literally makes me cry whenever I listen to it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's other stuff that'll make me cry. If Landmine Spring by Quicksand is another one. That's just another gut puncher. But go listen to Ocean Machine if you have a chance. Find it on vinyl. I'm pretty sure you can find it on vinyl now. But,
I could probably. Yeah, okay. I don't have anything witty to say.
Not once I drop the vinyl line.
All right, fine. You disarmed me. What you got, Keefy?
First of all, Justin, with the Quicksand reference, one of my favorite bands ever, one of my musical heroes is Walt Trifles. Anything that guy does is incredible. Quicksand, I think, doesn't have a live album, by the way. Really sad. That's
one of the reasons why I'm so glad we're doing this, is because the live album has all but died.
Yeah, we had the Corin live albums, but it's
not
really
Iron Maiden.
The same. Yeah, Iron Maiden. I mean, that's their cottage industry. They pretty much got the monopoly on the live album at this point, because who does it better, really?
Right. Well, I mean, what's great about it is they do an album, they do a tour, they do a live album, then they do a legacy tour. Then they go, well, fuck it. People will buy Aces High live again, which I did, and will again.
How many live versions of Aces High do you own at this point?
I don't want to know. All of them? Too many? At least 6.
What's the over-under? I was going to say 4 to 7.
I think it's on all of them.
Jesus.
Because I have
we will fight them
Live After Death.
Fight them on the ground.
I know. Live After Death. I've got Rock in Rio, Death on the Road, In Vivo, Book of Souls, Legacy, and I think I got one more that I just don't remember.
Was Rock in Rio ever released as a standalone album or just a video?
No, it was an album. Oh. I got it on vinyl.
Of course.
3 vinyl albums. I know. They keep making them, so I keep buying them. It's like donuts. I can't help it.
Well,
I tell myself I'm not gonna buy Legacy of the Beast. I'm not gonna buy it. The only thing different on there is Flight of Icarus and one other song, and they're already on fucking Live After Death anyway, which I got later. So I mean, damn it, I have 2 live versions of Flight of Icarus. Come on, what is wrong with me?
You're helping Bruce enjoy his true love of flying.
It is my favorite song by them.
I think he's got enough money. I mean, I think he's fine.
He's a Brexiteer, so
I liked life better when I didn't know on one hand, it's like, every day I play the game, is this band a fascist or Nazi? I have to play every black metal band I listen to that's new, that I didn't know anything about. Legacy bands, when will someone fuck up and say some horrible offensive shit I'm going to disown them for? Mainstream bands, when are they going to get accused of rape or something and I'm going to have to disown them and burn all my records and merch? Like, this is a constant problem for me. And also as an editor for Ghost Cult. Hey, we wanted to pitch you our band and don't look at this questionable shit over here. Or I like bands that certain segments of the musical populace hates and trolls me for, and I agree that maybe there's some questionable behavior, but not like throw them in the sea behavior. You know what I'm saying? There's a line. You have to have some line.
I am at the point now where as long as you're not raping or dropping N-bombs, I'm gonna let it go.
I think that's you have a wider list than I do. I can't do that. Like there's
We all have our lines. I call it the Benoit list.
Look, there's a
list
line,
of
but
bands you cannot ethically consume, and that is up to you. It's not up to anybody to say. It is up to you and your morals and your ethics.
I just feel like that if the line was any more stringent than that, I would be tossing out half my records. So I choose to believe that Phil Anselmo is still the same guy that wrote the song Attack the Radical. He's not.
No, he hasn't. Phil Anselmo hasn't performed live since the 1990s.
Since 1992 specifically. I choose to believe that Jimmy Page is a fine, upstanding gentleman, and I won't go any farther than that. Because you know what? I'm sorry. I'm weak.
I get it.
What's your next album, Keefy?
Oh God. I didn't remember that this was the topic of the Chaser episode until like 15 minutes before we did this call. So I reserve the right to completely go against my previous choices that no one knew about except Nicholas. And so
who doesn't remember?
He doesn't remember. I'm going to pull out a record. I actually don't have it handy, but I have it. And that's why I'm choosing it. One of my favorite bands ever is Helmet. One of my favorite riff monsters of all time is Page Hamilton. The guy is a certified musical genius.
He is unsung.
Indeed.
Jokes.
I will go to bat for Size Matters as a fantastic album.
Size Matters is an excellent record and features my main man, Frankie Bello, on the bass when he was out of Anthrax. I think he's also on Aftertaste also. So let's see. So we're talking about Helmet, and it's Helmet live and rare. And part of the allure for this is I was at this. This is made up of two shows, and I was at one of them.
Very cool.
Flex. I was at the CBGB's January 27, 1990. During a bullshit snowstorm, I took the train down from the North Bronx to the Bowery and went to CBGB's, one of my many times either playing there or visiting there as a fan. And then the second concert is 3 years later, January 24th, 1993 at Big Day Out in Melbourne. And right after that show, like literally they came home and Pete Mengele quit the band. Which is when they got in Trish Traynor, who now plays with Bush, if you care about that lineage. Trish Traynor, I think, was briefly live with Biohazard. I'm probably forgetting somebody else in there on guitar between Biohazard, Helmet. These bands used to just swap members sometimes.
Yeah.
But this is the classic Helmet lineup that made Meantime, that made Betty, that made these really classic, great albums. Obviously, Pete's out for Betty, but so they intro, there's an intro, musical intro, and then they play Impressionable, Murder, Your Head, Repetition, Sinatra, Rumble, and Ironhead, if I'm not mistaken. And then the songs from Big Day Out are Better, Give It, Blacktop, a Melvins cover, Oven, a rare Melvins cover, Turned Out, and In the Meantime. Right. And in the meantime, Unsung is not on here. Similar to Melvin's, Page plays the song, but it's like his least favorite thing he's ever done. Does not want to be remembered. Doesn't really, also like this is before Betty. So no Wilma's Rainbow. Those songs are not on here. But Meantime is a thing he's hella proud of, right? It's heavy. It's been covered by a lot of bands. It's one of the best songs ever. I love Sinatra. Great riff, great vocal. For people who are not fans of Helmet or unaware of their importance, Pantera ripped off songs from them. Since you mentioned Pantera,
Helmet.
Truly, everybody has ripped off Helmet. Page has a degree in jazz, so you can thank Page Hamilton for your Dillinger Escape Plans and your Converges. Those fans of those bands and your modern day, your Mastodons have kind of copied little things from them. And Cave In took inspiration from Helmet. So I love this band. The lineup again is Page Hamilton on lead guitar, but really it's all rhythm guitar with few leads and vocals. And again, Page has he'll either do this very clean, very benign voice that's just monotone on purpose, or he'll scream because he did come from a hardcore background also. Pete Mengele on rhythm guitar. Henry Bogdan on bass, very underrated guy. And John Stainer, the great John Stainer on the drums. He's in the band right now, Battles, which does like dance music, but he's an incredible drummer who also was, somehow underrated, but also legendary at the same time. I know it's kind of a lot of hyperbole for that guy, but he deserves it. So go check out Battles and go check out John Stainer. And yeah, man, I love this record. Helmet, live and rare.
Yeah.
Now,
sorry, go ahead. Nick.
Well, I was going to say we are now running a little short on time. We are pushing the envelope here. Let's not mail it with one stamp. So what I was going to say is everybody just elevator pitch on what makes a great live album. For me, what makes a great live album is either one of two things. It can be completely manufactured, doctored up, like the Gilmour record, or it can be something like the Black Sabbath live album, which if you pay attention closely, it is not very doctored. They mixed it. They didn't really do much overdubs. They didn't do much editing. They did record it over the entire tour so they could find the best moments, but they even included a lot of little moments that should not have been there. Like you could hear Ronnie James Dio talking to the band or Jeff Nichols tuning his keyboard in the middle of everything. So it's either going to be the great document of your career or the document of the night. And Gilmour makes the career, Black Sabbath makes the night.
I think a good live album is an immersive experience, something where, regardless of how doctored it is, something that makes you feel like you're getting a little bit of that moment. Yes, it's supposed to be a document of a band's era, something, but the biggest thing is you have to feel it. And I think that's one of the biggest things for me with music in general is you just have to feel it. And you feel a good live album.
You just described Kiss Alive.
Yeah.
Completely fake, but it sounds totally right.
I got a couple of questions, if you'll permit me. What's the worst live album you can think of? Not that I want to trash people, but why not?
Anthrax Live, The Island Years.
Oh, God.
I legitimately hate that album. That's not a good one for me. Death on the Road by Iron Maiden is not really a good one for me. I kind of regret purchasing it, to be perfectly honest. Alive 2 by Kiss is fuck terrible. There's the right amount of plastic surgery, Pamela Anderson, 1995. And then there's too much plastic surgery, those twins that died from all the plastic surgery. They died from COVID. Sorry, they died from COVID. In Kiss Alive was just the right amount of doctoring, and Kiss Alive 2 was way too much. And then Kiss Alive 3, half of the songs were literally recorded at sound check. So when he does the stage rap to introduce it, and then they go into the song, it's two completely different timbres, and it's obvious. So, bad live albums are just when you don't know when to stop. It's like a drawing, and you have to know when you've put enough detail in the crow's feet. If you don't know, you're going to ruin it.
Yeah, that is fair enough. Although Nick also knows how much I love Alive 2 and how important that record is to me in my life. But anyway,
look,
he just loves to just stab me.
There are absolutely parts of Alive 2 that are amazing. The version of God of Thunder, which was recorded at Budokan in 1976, is spectacular. It was not recorded in 1977 in Los Angeles, but the crowd noise on that album, it's the same crowd noise they use for every song.
I know.
It's the exact same. Ah!
Blame your favorite guy, Bob Ezrin, for that. Or is it Eddie Kramer?
Eddie Kramer.
Blame Eddie Kramer.
I will blame Eddie Kramer. I'll blame him all. But you know what? It got signed off on. I just don't like that one. I wish I did. Ace's version of Shock Me is completely done in the studio. Hard Luck Woman was done at soundcheck. Half of the album wasn't even performed at the show. They said they were performing it at. If you watch Houston 1977 from Kissology Volume 1, listen to Alive 2, and then watch Budokan 1976 from Kissology 1. They took most of the tracks from that show.
Okay. Here's another one. Justin, do you have a band with a terrible live album?
There's a bunch of live Cro-Mags material that got put out onto Spotify recently, and I love the Harley Flanagan Cro-Mags. You know, John Joseph's, as we all know, is Conspiracy Wackaloon. Like, it's just, we're not going to go there, but just the recording, it was not good, and I just can't. It's too bad. It puts you in the moment in a bad way. It's like you're having your head pinned up against the against the big bass pin by some gigantic Hare Krishna hardcore dude.
I'm just going to point out that I did not say, I said neither Pulse nor Delicate Sound of Thunder for the worst live albums.
That is a noted on record.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You know what's funny is I saw
Comfortably Numb on Delicate is fuck terrible.
before the lawsuit between the Cro-Mags versions. I saw Cro-Mags about 3 years ago, and they were still really John Joseph's version of Cro-Mags, and they were really good. And Harley had not put out the 2 releases yet, so I would like to see Harley live. And you know, and I guess John cannot call anything Cro-Mags anymore, but he has a new Blood Clot record coming out, so we're gonna hear a lot more from that guy, like it or not, very soon.
Yes, but I will say this: I would love to see that. I would have loved to have seen them with Rocky George on the lead guitar, the Harley Cro-Mags. I guess he's left the band and been replaced by Hector Guzman, but like Rocky George and the Cro-Mags, that's just
Hector Guzman, the Luis Guzman. Sorry, I was like the actor. No, that's Luis Guzman.
no
Sorry.
Luis Guzman is the new
Gomez Adams. Saw that today, and I'm like, wait a minute, he's not. He's Latino. Wait a minute,
Well,
his name is Gomez.
Yeah,
But Gomez is a last name. I don't know what to do any now. I don't even know what to do.
No, Adams is their last name, by the way.
Yeah, I know, but Gomez is a last name.
But actually, a lot of Latin-born folks, I don't know what the proper terminology is anymore.
Latin.
You take both. You take what? Yeah, okay. You take both last names of the mother and father.
Yeah, that's all of them. You take.
But you also could be named for your ancestors.
A good friend of mine. His name is Esteban. I forget his middle name. Pacheco Gomez.
Yeah.
Pacheco is his mother's last name. Gomez is his father's last name.
Regardless,
But anyway,
Gomez Adams always seemed at least Spanish coded to me, so I don't. So, Latinx Gomez
Latinx.
Adams is fine.
No, I'm fine with it. But then when I realized Gomez isn't even a first, I'm like, oh yeah, but Gomez is Spanish. Wait a minute, Gomez is a last name.
Yeah,
but
no,
I don't know. I didn't know what to do.
My only issue with it is Luis Guzman. It does not fit the established archetype of Gomez Adams being handsome.
You think John Aston was handsome? You are on the
For the
drugs. No,
for the
you're
time,
no.
but also Raul Julia, very handsome Gomez Adams.
Yes, Raul. Well, also a Latinx gentleman. Anyway, we're spiraling.
We're not.
Yes.
I was gonna say, realistically, just from the photo, I think the Addams Family reboot will be better than Rob Zombie's Monsters movie. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think so.
I would agree with that, but we have been going on and on and on. It is heaven and hell. Hey-o, call back. Anybody have any final thoughts this week?
I had many, but I guess you're in a rush to go. You don't like Justin's company. I guess this is Nick showing his true self today.
Can't handle the Canadianness.
He can't handle the niceness.
He's an honorary Canadian, but he can't handle the Canadian.
One of my coworkers thinks to God that I'm Canadian, and she will not believe me that I was born in Alton, Illinois.
Wild. No, I mean, I just thank you for being here, Justin. I'm looking forward to your music.
You.
Get ahead of us with that over email. Thanks for
if
love
I have
to have
send
you
it
back.
again, I will. Gmail's weird because I own my own domain, so stuff doesn't always get through.
We'll figure it out.
So,
DM me.
yeah, but and thank you very much. I love your guys' show. I love your work. You're both good dudes. Capital G, capital D, good dudes.
All right. I can go so many directions with that, but I'll just say thank you and appreciate you for being here. We seem to get wacky when a guest shows up. We got to work on that. Nick and I are just like,
It's fun.
uh,
More guests.
but
Did you
anyway,
say
yeah,
orgasm?
I didn't.
More guests.
Oh,
guests.
okay.
Yeah, that's probably what we need to do is just have more guests on because we just get flummoxed and overwhelmed by just the graciousness of other people. And I think it throws us off our game, at least me.
Learn to
Anywho,
accept compliments.
yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I'm from New York. We're just like, hey, fuck you, buddy. Like, we don't fucking, we're just not, that's our nice mode.
Yes.
Get the fuck out of my way.
You know, when we record these shows, I'm usually at about a 9.5 or 10 to begin with. And then when there's a guest here, I jump up to like 13.
Jump to
So
a 23.
I'm
On a 10
sorry.
scale. That's okay. So do
sorry.
I. I also napped right before this. Naps are life, everybody. So like,
I just
have a
like
lot
to
more
keep-
energy, and normally I'm very subdued.
I like to keep these at about an hour 30. That's just
Okay, that's
my
fair.
thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and say thank you very much, Justin, for being here. I apologize for all of my actions, and I will thank Keefy for his quality actions. Check out Stormland. It is, what is the Bandcamp link again?
Stormland.bandcamp.com.
God damn, that is easy. Stormland.bandcamp.com. I will put a link to the description in the episode and on the YouTubes. And thank you very much for being here. Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you are still here, you really should like and subscribe because clearly you appreciate whatever the fuck it is we do. Thank you very much. This is the Glacier Musical Podcast. It does not play in Peoria.
Okay. This